Thank you, Margaret. Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Q1 FY22 earnings call for NMDC. I'd like to thank the management of NMDC Limited for allowing us to host this call. We will have with us CMD Sri Sumit Dev and Director of Finance Sri Amitav Mukherjee. So we will hand over the floor to Sri Sumit Dev for his opening comments, and then we'll open the floor for Q&A. Over to you, sir.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. It's been a great quarter for NMDC in terms of production, sales, profits. Good quarter for us, and we have in fact broken all sorts of records. The first quarter in terms of production has been all-time high, 35% increase. Even in terms of revenue from operations, 6,500 crores. All of them, in fact, the EBITDA margins or the PAT. So it has been a great quarter. Obviously, we believe that things will continue in this fashion. We hope to continue in this fashion, especially in terms of production. We have targeted 44 million tons, and we hope to achieve that target. We are on. 44 is something which we'll need to do, and we will do it. And in terms of profitability also, we believe that prices have almost stabilized. The monsoon season, albeit a little bit of aberration. Otherwise, we believe that going forward, demand should be strong. We have good. The markets are there is a lot of demand in the market, and we believe that things will work out in terms of production and sales also. As a scene, we are planning to start our coal operations also in this financial year, probably from Q2, Q3. We should be Q2 and we should be able to start our coal mining operations in Jharkhand. So that's also will add on to our bottom line. So these are things going forward. We believe, and we are also in discussion with governments, state governments for additional mining blocks. So things are looking good for us. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Should we open the floor for Q&A session, sir?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who would like to ask a question, you may press star and 1 at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Amit Dixit from Edelweiss Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity and congratulations for a good set of numbers. I have 2 questions. The first one is on the status of steel plant commissioning, where we are on that front, do we see it getting commissioned, and also if you can share the status of the new company formation for which board had already given its approval. That is the first question.
And let me answer that. You see, the steel plant, we are targeting to commission it in the Q3, or rather early Q4, late Q3 or early Q4. So we are waiting for the the byproduct plant to get ready, and simultaneously we are planning to start the coke oven heating very soon, hopefully. So it is a 4-5 month process. So that is the target as of now. Let us hope that we'll be able to keep it. We are working towards that only. And the second is, you asked for demerger. Well, the board has already approved the draft scheme. Now it is to be filed with the stock exchanges and SEBI. So I think this week or maybe on 20th we'll be able to file it. All the requisite certificates from the auditors, etc., for filing has been received. And this week, definitely, either tomorrow or on Friday, we'll be able to file that.
Okay. That's reassuring, sir. The second question is on a medium-term perspective, just wanted to get your idea that in medium term, that is next 3 years, if you can just let us know the key projects that you are targeting and what is the approximate CapEx outlay for the same.
This is the approximate capex outlay for this FY is around 3750 crores that we are anticipating. But a large chunk of it is related to NISP, that is the steel plant, which is 2150. Apart from this, the major capexes which we are expecting, A is in the slurry pipeline, around 250 to 300 crores on that this year. And B is the third screening plant that we are setting up at Kirandul with 12 MTPA. That is another 200 crores we were expecting. Apart from that, we will be spending some money in the coal blocks, which are in the nature of statutory payments and some R&R payments. So the total is 3750 that we are targeting, of which 2150 is from Nagarnar itself, and another 1600 crores is from these other projects.
So when do you expect this slurry pipeline to get commissioned and functioning?
It is supposed to come up by 2023 end. Calendar year 2023 Q3 it's supposed to come up. We have already awarded the major contract to L&T for the 1,000 crore contract for laying of the pipeline. The work is underway. They have started the work, and we have the award of the two end projects. One is the beneficiation plant at the beginning end, and the other is the pellet plant at the finishing end. Those tenders are in advanced stage of finalization, so we hope that in about a month's time we would be able to award them.
Thank you. Over to Mr. Dixit to rejoin the queue for follow-up questions. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management will be able to address questions from all participants, we would request you to please limit your questions to 2 at a time. Should you have a follow-up question, I request you to rejoin the queue. Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kamlesh Jain from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So one question on the part of this sales volume, like say we did roughly around 9.4 odd million tons. So this.
Beg your pardon? We couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah. So I was asking on the part of the sales volume. So this MMDR Act amendment came in, like say, effective from 28th of March. So prior to that, whatever production we had, so there was no, like say, incidence of 22.5% royalty on that part. So out of this 9.4 million ton, how much of the quantity is related to prior to this amendment?
Around 5.1 million ton.
So 5.1
our EBITDA is 66%. That is why our EBITDA is at 66%, no? Because normally you cannot have with this 22.5% coming in, the normal EBITDA would be less than 60%. Because of the statutory expenditure. This quarter it was 66% because more than half of my sales were from my opening stock, that is the pre-28 stock.
Okay. So this 9.4 included 5.1 million ton from the inventory.
Yeah, for 5.1 from the opening inventory, yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish Kejriwal from Centrum Broking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, sir. So, 2 questions from my side. Again, once you said that you are going to file with the exchange. So I think in that exchange, when we are filing, is it safe to assume that we are going to file the demerger value and after that we'll go for SEBI and other approvals?
Yeah, we filed with SEBI and the exchanges, the draft demerger scheme with and all the statistics. Mm-hmm. Then they revert back to us if they have any modifications to suggest. If they don't, then we take it to the MCA, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. If they do suggest something, then we make those small changes and then file it with MCA, and thereafter the entire process takes around 4 to 5 months.
So still we are sticking to December 2021 deadline, and after that we will list the share.
Yeah, but that delisting, that listing will be happening only when the demerger is complete.
Okay, but after the demerger is complete, we will list the shares in the exchange.
Yes, the new company will list the shares in the exchange.
Okay, and that we are expecting by December end.
It's a 4 to 5 month process. So it could be 10-15 days this side or that side. Depends on how much time SEBI takes and stock exchanges take, how much time the MCA takes.
Mm-hmm.
But our transaction advisors have advised that it will be around anything between 4 to 5 months. That is what they
Sure,
tell.
sure. And the second thing is on iron ore prices. Yeah, sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Right, that's the normal time that they advise that they take.
Got that. Got it.
Go ahead.
So second is on iron ore prices, because we have seen global iron ore prices falling by around 25% in a month's time. And I think at this price, exports will become somewhat less lucrative. So do you foresee some incremental supply coming in the domestic market, which will lead to further correction in our prices?
Number one, we do not speculate on prices. We see it, there's a variety of factors. Export prices are only one of them. Domestic availability is one of them. So obviously domestic availability, as you know, Odisha, there has been a major change from the merchant mining sector to the captive sector. Some of the mines are still not producing. Some of them have been surrendered. So as CMD said, we are very optimistic about the situation and the prices as well. But we will refrain from making exact speculation. But nonetheless, we are very optimistic about the future scenario of demand and prices.
Sure.
We don't see
I would like to add there.
much negatives on that.
Yeah, I would like to add there. So what happens is basically the exports which do take place are in the Fe 60 plus categories are less.
Mm-hmm.
So the higher grade exports are very less from the country. It's more or less, most of it is in the below 60. That is number one. Now, number two is that we have what we have been seeing is that our prices are much more. There's no comparison with export prices. Right? Export prices at the peak where the domestic prices were at a discount.
Sure, sure.
To that extent, we don't see any major changes in the prices.
Sure, got it. And lastly, on your coal operations, sir, you said that Q3 will start. So is it possible to share some numbers on that?
No, not it will be very.
In terms of volumes, what we are likely to have in this year or next year?
So we don't have any volume for this FY, because most of the mining that will start is basically R&R and preparatory services. Commercial mining will take maybe a little more time, a couple of more quarters. But the other activities prior to that would start in Q3.
Sure, sure. Thank you and all the best, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Yogansh Jeswani from Mittal Analytics. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Am I audible, sir? Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity, sir. So my question is on the volume side. So for the last couple of years, the volume has more or less stayed stagnant. So going forward, how do you plan on doing this? I think you touched upon this point briefly, but if you could just elaborate on what are the plans or what is the vision going forward, what kind of volume growth are we targeting? If you could share that number.
So, as CMD already said that we are targeting at least 44 this financial year. So we did 35 last year, and we have Donimalai this year, so that will add straight away 7 million ton. And another incremental from our existing mines would be 2 to 3 million tons. So 35 plus 7 is 42, and another 2 to 3 hopefully from our existing mines. We have got a new line in Kirandul which will account for at least 2.5 million tons. New screening line there. So that will account for at least 2 to 2.5 million tons. So we are very confident that we'll do 44 at least this financial year.
Right. That's for FY22. And sir, any similar target for FY23?
23, hopefully we will be having a marginal increase on that, but we are having a big time capex. So we are drawing up a big capex plan so that we can go up to 100 million ton in 4 to 5 years time. So we are drawing up the capex plan for that.
Understood, sir. And sir, again, going back to the pricing side of the scenario, so I think like how we are seeing, prices come down internationally. So in near term, are we expecting any more price cuts like we have taken, I think, 2 in the last month itself? So are we looking at any further price cuts in the near term?
As I said, we do not speculate on prices at all. Number one. Number two, we have already said that we are very optimistic about the demand and the stability of the price scenario. And the 2 price cuts we took recently were essentially very marginal, 100 rupees in the first, 102 or 300 rupees in the next, and that 2 lumps. So basically, those have been much more token cuts as compared to the price increase earlier. But we have already said in the previous answer that we are fairly optimistic about the scenario as of now. So I think that should answer your question.
That's really helpful, sir. Thank you. So one last question from my end. Now that the cash flow generation that we are having is quite strong and quite good, and then we have a demerger also coming up. So going forward, any thoughts that you can share around maybe having a buyback at these prices, or putting out more money in the hands of the minorities by way of higher dividend? Any thoughts that management can share around these 2 things, sir?
These things are something that are confidential information. I would not like them to speculate on them on a recorded call. As and when the board would decide on whether buyback or dividend, this is very difficult to speculate in an open call. But I'm sure that the board will take cognizance of these, whether it is buyback or dividend, at appropriate point of time.
Absolutely, sir. That's it from my side, sir. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhavin Chadha from Enam Holdings. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. So currently you have a EC limit of close to 51.8 million ton. Last time you mentioned that the company plans to expand it to 83 million. So what are the current filings to increase the EC limit? What is the progress on that, and if you can update the same?
Yeah, Donimalai in the Karnataka sector, we have already filed for Kumaraswamy mines from 7 million ton to 10 million ton. In the Karnataka sector also we have filed for deposit 14, but these are long drawn processes. These don't happen overnight. So these are processes that take anything between 6 months to 18 months, depending on what sort of things are there. So we have drawn out a plan, and accordingly we are filing, and these have to be filed for each mine separately. So deposit 14 we are filing, deposit 11 we are filing, some of them we have already filed in the initial stages. So it's a continuous process that goes on, depending on your what is your reserve base. And it's a continuous process, so we are on that.
And sir, for mining up to
Donimalai, we are hopeful that we'll be able to get it by the Q3 or Q4.
Sure. And sir, for mining volume up to 51 million, you don't need to do additional capex or any other regulatory process to increase your volumes from this year, say 44 million ton rate to
process. We don't need up to 51, but we are already producing, we are targeting 44, so that's almost more than 90% there. Our plant capacity utilization is also, if you see, it's 97%. And we are doing the debottlenecking in, investing in debottlenecking in Kirandul and in Bacheli, where Kirandul we have already put in the 5th screening line, and Bacheli we are, the work is going on for the 5th screening line. So those are there. So up to 51 by these 2 debottlenecking, and we will be able to reach that. And apart from that, for the enhanced EC, we are already we have tendered out. We are almost on the verge of finalizing in about 2 or 3 months, we'll finalize the SP3 in Kirandul, the screening plant 3, which is a 12 million ton capacity. So we are also augmenting our screening and OC and dispatch and conveying capacities. We have got 2 more work sanctioned of relocating our crushing plant in deposit 14. So that will go from 5 to 10 million ton. And similarly on deposit 11 also we are relocating the crushing plant again, that will go from 7 to 10. So these are in various stages of process. Some of them have been tendered out in advanced stages. Some of them, the work has been sanctioned and are to be tendered out. But these are happening continuously. These are on the
Sure. And so my last question on the steel demerger, is a pro forma balance sheet of steel, if you can share for March 21 numbers on the demerger, what kind of borrowings, cash and gross block and net worth you intend to transfer to a steel company?
Yeah, we have spent on 31st March something around 18,500 crores approximately, right?
Sure.
And we had on that day a loan of around 524 crores, which was taken through the NCD route. And these are the blocks that will be transferred, and this will be forming a part of the scheme. If you read the scheme once it is filed, so these numbers are well mentioned there.
So any cash balance also you intend to transfer to the steel company?
No, but there's no cash balance there, no, because that has not generated any cash. So there will be no cash balance as such transferred. But we have taken a loan of 4,500 crore. We have got it sanctioned, which will be transferred to the new company, obviously. And the cash requirements can be met from that reason.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nishtha Mukherjee from Steel Mint. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. I just wanted to ask, do we have any idea on which all mine blocks we want to augment our capacities further? Are any mine block auctions scheduled in Karnataka as well?
No problem. आज किस में डाल दो उसको?
There are 2 mine blocks, as you know. Deposit 4 has been awarded to a subsidiary company of NMDC, that is NMDC CMDC Limited. Deposit 4. We are also talking to the various state governments in Chhattisgarh to get requesting them to give us deposit 1 and deposit 2 there. We are also in talks with the government of Odisha and government of Jharkhand for various blocks. And we have no immediate plans, hopefully, as of now, to participate in any auctions because we are on the reservation routes. But we are pursuing with various state governments. CMD himself is pursuing. He has met all the senior officials in these state governments, and we are pursuing very seriously of having fresh blocks in Odisha and Jharkhand as well as in Chhattisgarh.
All right, sir. And any mine block auctions expected in Karnataka in the coming months, sir, for C category?
That I'll have to see. I'll not be able to say because what the state government is auctioning or not.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor and Company. Please go ahead.
Namaskar, sir, and thank you. Sir, firstly, you told that out of the opening stock of 5.1 million ton, the EBITDA margins were higher. So, if we remove this opening stock before in the earlier regime, what would be now the margins, EBITDA margins going forward? Not the blended one, but the one which is within. Yeah.
Going forward, the EBITDA margins should be in the vicinity of anything around 50%, about 50. Anything between 45, let us say the range of 42 to 50%, depending on the prices.
42 to 50%. And sir, what are the land? Hello. Yes, sir. And import parity basis, sir, what is the variation at the grades for us?
I did not get your question. What do you mean by import?
I'm talking about import parity prices. If imports happen, what are the prices and what are our selling prices? The difference between the same.
As of now, we are at discount to import parity prices in the East Coast by around 40%. So if you are importing an ore of our quality at Vizag, my ore from Belladilla would be around 40% cheaper.
Right, sir. So I'll come in the queue for follow-up. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Poddar from HDFC Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question. Sir, regarding the steel plant, you mentioned about 500 crores of debt which will be there. How much will be the retention money and other payments that has to be made which will go away with the plant?
You see, the revised cost estimate for completing the steel plant is 21,900 crores, 940 crores in fact, of which we have spent already by the year end around 18,500 crores by March 31st, and currently I think the figure is around 18,731 crores. So that makes anything between 2 to 2,500 crores more for. Most of these would be towards commissioning payments, anything between 2,500 to 2,800 or 2,900 crores.
Right. And sir, how will the ramp up of the plant be, let's say in 22, 23, 24? What kind of utilization should we expect?
Once the plant is commissioned, I am told that this is the most modern plant and having one of the largest capacities of blast furnace. So I don't think the ramping up would be a major issue. Our technical people tell us because of the design of the plant, ramping up is not the issue. The issue is commissioning. Once we commission it and the plant stabilizes, ramping up can be possibly I am told that it can be done in a very compressed time frame.
Right. And so the finished output that will come out of the plant would be 2.65 million tons, or it would be a little different?
No, it is actually 3 million ton plant. We expect a finished output of 2.7 million ton, which is basically flat products only.
Okay. And so the customer segment or any sense on what kind of markets you would be targeting initially?
These are all flat products. So as you know that right now the prices of flat products are on the peak, and all the industry experts do say that the flat products are likely to remain there for some time. So our total HRC production is around 2.9 million tons. Around in all grades. So these are good times to roll out flat product as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
We don't have any long products in this. In this.
So my sense was whether it will be export market, domestic market, or any such bifurcation.
I think there is enough demand in the domestic market, but that will depend on how the market is behaving at that point of time. I think there are a lot of steel producers who are exporting their material, and there is a lot of domestic interest in our products in any case. So I don't think marketing, whether domestically or even as an export market, would be any of the constraint.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Noel Vaz from Antique Stock Broking. From Ashika Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for taking my question. So actually just one question regarding the steel plant. So the raw material sourcing for the steel plant, the iron ore and coking coal, what will be the sourcing arrangement?
Iron ore would be obviously from our mines at Belladilla, but it will be on an arm length basis. Like any other customer, like Vizag is like RINL is our customer, like JSW is our customer, like ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel is our customer. This plant will be another of our long-term customers. We will be entering into a long-term agreement as we do with our major customers, and this will be with arm's length pricing. So, and coking coal, as you know, is mostly imported in India. So for this plant also, mostly the coking coal will be mostly imported.
Okay. But has the arrangement for the coking coal been done already? Because right now the prices
See, we already have a standing what is called for the PSUs, what is called is an EJC, that is a joint committee which is where SAIL and RINL also participate. We are also a member for that. So once we are on the verge of starting the plant, we can use that forum to order the coking coal. Generally from order to dispatch is around less than 3 months. So that's not the sourcing of the coking coal is not a problem because there's already a mechanism, standing mechanism of which we are a member. We just have to put in our demand, and in 2 to 3 months time, coking coal can be taken.
Okay. And lastly, sir,
it's the same source that is the same mechanism that SAIL and RINL use for sourcing their coking coal. It's the same mechanism.
And sir, just one other question. So I'm just curious, sir, has the company made any commitments or plans to make any moves towards trying in the direction of decarbonization? I mean, has there been discussion on the matter?
You see, the latest environmental norms, which has been recently revised, for which we have to make we are making additional capex. I think these norms are one of the strictest that's possible, so, and we'll have to meet them to commission the plant. Without that, without the authorities being sure of us meeting those pollution control norms, we will not be able to commission the plant. So normally we have already it is planned within the execution and commissioning process.
Okay, sir. Yeah, that is all from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pallav Agarwal from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. So I had a question on the quarterly results. So our sales being higher than the production number, we had a net gain in inventory, or a change in inventory. So was that due to the some impact of the additional royalty, or there was some other factor?
That's because of valuation changes. You see, we took the price hikes and this 22.5% also came in. So that's the book number is because of valuation changes, increase in inventory.
Sure. Okay. So also, so just to understand this, so the realization that we report, so that already includes the royalty, right? So when I'm computing this, say 40% royalty, so that is already included in our realization.
This realization that we report of 6,800 that we have reported this quarter is exclusive of royalty.
Oh, that is exclusive of all royalties, or only the additional premium that you have?
No, it includes additional premium, but excludes royalty. We have reported the average realization of 6,512. 6,823 per ton. Just a second. Let me find out. Sorry, this includes royalty. I've just seen this includes royalty and all charges.
Okay, so on a like-to-like comparison can be made with what you've reported in earlier quarters. So.
Yeah, it will be a like-to-like.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jitesh Umalkar from A1 Investments and Resources Limited. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Basically, the later date at 13 July, we have said that we are searching for investor to hand over steel plant. Any progress on that or any management thought on that?
You see, we in NMDC management is responsible for demerging the steel business into a new company. And once it is demerged, it will have a mirror shareholding of NMDC. That means that the government of India would own around 60.38% of the shares of the new steel company. Thereafter, the sale of those shares are within the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Finance or DIPAM. We, as NMDC management, is not involved in that share sale, except for the fact that we would be participating in the various road shows, etc., etc. But the actual disinvestment and through the sale of shares would be done by the Ministry of Finance. That is the DIPAM. So that question needs to be addressed to DIPAM. As a management, we have no visibility or no on that.
Okay. And as I understand, it's a locational advantage for any buyer to invest in that steel plant. But I would like to know, is there any disadvantage also or any local issues for opposed to the demerger?
I mean, that is very difficult to comment. You see, everybody says that this is a fantastic plant to buy because steel cycle is in the top. It's a ready-made plant. You invest today, you start producing tomorrow. And it doesn't have any employee baggage or any baggage to be handed over. So it's a clean plant without the best modern technology plant, almost without any employees to be buy. So it is expected that it will be a very, very hot cake for sale. But regarding local disturbances, well, that's a political call of that local area. I'm sure that those who buy will take that into account.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question from the line of Anush Jain from Globe Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Yes.
And congratulations on the good set of numbers. Can I have the bifurcation between lump and fine in the total sale?
The rule of the thumb is basically 30% would be lumps and 70% would be fines.
30.
And
Okay.
It is this quarter, I think it is 65-35, 65% fines and 35% lump. Exact
Okay, so
it will be difficult for me right now. I can
okay,
give
so on an average 60-40 ratio, we can understand, or 65-35. Right?
It is actually 70-30, 65-35 max, not 60.
Okay. Okay, 70 is for fine, 30 is for lump.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vikas Singh from Phillip Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I just want to understand what is our July average selling prices vis-a-vis 1Q average prices, how much it is higher?
Well, July average prices are slightly lower than the Q1. I'll just tell you what the current prices are in July and are slightly lower than the June prices. The lumps would be around 300 to 400 rupees lower than the June prices, and the fines would be around 400 to 500 lower than the June prices right now, prevailing as of now.
So basically, I was talking about the June quarter average versus June quarter average. How much it would have been higher? Because we were in an increasing pricing trend last quarter. So.
Yes, as an average basis, it will not be too less because you see, we took two major in April and May only. So on an average basis, we have not worked out, but I don't expect it to be more than the average of Q1.
Understood. So, sir, assuming it would have been on a flattish basis, so my second question pertains to if I take that 994 crore of the premium which we have paid for the remaining 4.4 million ton of inventory, then the percentage comes out somewhere around 33%. So just wanted to understand why it is a little bit on higher on the remaining inventory sold, or there is some thing else which I'm missing out. If you could explain.
Yeah, I'll have to get back on that. I'm not getting your figures exactly. I'll have to verify whether your figures are correct or not. Because
so basically 9.45 you have. So.
I think.
Okay, 9.45 you have sold actually, and you are saying 5.1 is the older inventory. So that left us with 4.3 at 994 crores. So comes around 2,280 rupees versus our average prices of 6,800 rupees.
Hold on. We'll have to see how much of that is on the inventory. Part of it will also be accounted for in the inventory valuation also. So we'll have to check that. I think 535 has been accounted for in the inventory. So I'll have to check that and come back to you. But that's 995 is not completely on sale. Some of it is on production, which is added to our inventory also.
Understood. That's the two questions from my side. Thank you, sir, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Jain from Systematic. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, good evening, sir. Thanks for taking my question. Sir, on the steel plant, could you clarify again how much is the pending capex? I just missed that point.
You see, the revised cost estimate for this for the steel plant is 21,940 crores. So that's around 22,000 crores, right?
Right. Yeah.
We have already spent around 18,700 crores. So that's around, say, 19,000 crores. So that's around anything between 2,500 to 3,000 crores is still left over.
There is no escalation to this number, right?
No. These we are confident that the overall, when we commission the plant and everything happens, I think we are very confident that it will remain well within the estimate of 22,000 crores, 21,940 crores.
Right. And so the management and running of the plant is well in place, or you will leave it to the new buyer, or how is it going to work?
No. We plan to commissioning it ourselves and run it till such time it is required. We have tied up with Macon to source capable and experienced industry hand to commission and run the plant for whatever time it takes to get a new player in.
And I believe you have some arrangement with POSCO as well to lift the material for cold roll or something like that, or is it just?
No. They had once upon a time, but they had sort of made inquiries regarding sourcing of that our steel for their cold rolling necessities, but that was some time back. But what we are confident is that these products I need not bother too much about selling, because this will be this has a ready-made market, whether POSCO or others. A lot of people have.
So you have no plans to do downstream processing as of now, right?
No. We are comfortable.
Yeah, and sir, also on the additional premium part, so the first quarter, what you're saying is that the entire material, like barring the Doni Malai, was subject to the additional royalty, right?
No, Kumaraswamy was not.
Kumaraswamy was not, right? So basically now so this is the number what we should expect going forward, right? So this is the run rate we should see?
Expect anything between 40 to 50%, depending on the prices.
Come again, how much percent?
The EBITDA would be around 40 to 50%.
No, not EBITDA. I'm just asking you on the premium percentage. So I think last quarter was it the right run rate, or is it going to go up significantly from here also?
It will go up a little bit in the sense the weighted average would be around 19.5% of the sales value. 19.5% of the net sales value, excluding royalty.
19.5%. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Because because Kumaraswamy, at the end of the year we expect 7 million tons. So out of 44 million tons,
right.
To take out 7 million tons, 37 million tons would be subject to this additional 22.5. So roughly it boils down to the weighted average would be around at the year end would be around 19 point something.
19.5, right. And sir, is there any plans to get big way into pelletization or any of that thing? Not on cards right now, right?
You see, we already have a pellet plant in Doni Malai for 1.2 million ton, which was not actually doing very well. Now the technical problems have been solved. So we expect by the end of Q3 both these filter presses to be there, and from Q3 onwards we will be producing at the stated capacity of 1.2 million tons. So that's going to be a substantial increase on the top line and bottom line as well, because these comes from the slimes. These comes from the tailing slimes. So that's number one. Of course, we are making a slurry pipeline, and at the end of it at Nagarnar, we are planning to have set up a 2 million ton pellet plant as well. So that's a fair capacity for a company like 3.5 million ton.
And so, like what SAIL had done, that reevaluation of old inventory. Do we have anything like that? We are also a very old company in that sense.
No. I don't think I will not comment on what SAIL has done, but we do not plan to value our inventory and put it.
No, but do we have such inventory, or is it like everything exhausted?
No, we have a certain amount of inventory at all the locations. We follow the FIFO method anyway, but we have slimes inventory at Kirandul, at Bacheli, and at Donimalai. But these are as what you call as waste material, having no intrinsic sale value. Somebody who buys it, fine. Otherwise, we don't value it at.
Right. Thanks.
That has been the consistent stock valuation philosophy of NMDC for years.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Shah from Investec. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Couple of questions. One, has there been any update on National Mineral Index?
No, we can't comment on that as of now. It is in the drawing board stage. If and when our inputs are requested, we will be happy to provide them.
Okay. So second is, would it be possible for you to give color on what is the sort of production which is possible from the states of Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Karnataka from an industry standpoint?
Beg your pardon, you want state-wise, so we'll have to look at this.
Yes.
Basically, we are calling for our numbers, but those are the numbers that we'll have to revisit and see what the marketing team says. But right now, I would not have a...
Sure. Sir, any color on how the ramp-up could be from likes of OMC? I think they got recently releases and they have increased the EC limits as well. Any color on that?
This is not the right forum to comment on other companies' plans and performances, be it OMC, be it SAIL, or be it anybody else. I would refrain from commenting on other companies' prospects or performance.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for the answers.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kamlesh Jain from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
So one question on the part of this capex on the steel plant. So we have left with around 3,000 odd crore. Does it include the housing colony and some housing projects which were there with the Chhattisgarh government? So there were some issues over there. So
that is excluded in this revised estimate of 21,940 crores. That's 22,000 crores. There is no further colony. Whatever colony was envisaged has already been built and done. That's very near to our Nagarnar steel plant. We have more than 1,000 quarters there. But no further colonies are envisaged in this revised cost estimate of 22,000 crores.
And secondly, sir, how much is the area we have under provision in this steel plant?
कितने हेक्टेयर है हमारे स्टील प्लांट के? I'll just check and revert. We have all the land in our possession. There is nothing fresh to be possessed. Some of them are to be acquired, but they are already on our possession.
Okay.
I don't have a ready-made number. I think it's some 97 hectares or 200. I'm just forgetting the figure. What is the exact land holding of Nagarnar?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek Modi from Emkay Global. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. My question pertains to the Nagarnar steel plant. You said that required capex is 2,500 to 3,000 crores. In the earlier question, you said that the capex, in terms of 3,750 crores total capacity outlay, 2,150 is Nagarnar steel plant. So 200, 300 is a gap. So there's some clarity on that part.
What clarity you want? Batao.
Sir, you told that pending capital.
Out of this total 2,500 to 3,000 to complete the plant, we expect 2,150 to be expended in this financial year.
Okay, so
because we are planning commissioning in the Q3 end or Q4 beginning, as some around Q4, let us say. So
okay, so I thought
all the payments will have to be released. The commissioning payments, the PAC payments, the PG test payments, maybe 1 or 2% payment will be left over. And that is exactly how the capex has been planned.
Okay, so I thought that the capex will be done for FY22 is the last year. So some additional 200-300 crore will be done in FY23. That part I missed.
Yes, obviously, because there will be something that will be left over. No? You will not pay the last penny only on commissioning. There is something of 2% is held off for there. 300 to 400 to 500 crores.
Yeah.
Around
Okay.
7 to 800 crores.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for the clarity.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor & Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. Couple of questions. Firstly, this being a monsoon affected quarter, so the volumes would be in line with what a monsoon quarter generally is, as we have seen last year also. Last year was also COVID impact. But this year, how are the productions being planned to mitigate the impact of monsoon, sir?
You see, the July productions, which we have already reported to the stock exchange, are much better than last year.
Correct, sir.
That is August, of course, I cannot say in a public forum what it is because we have not reported it, so I cannot. But all I can tell you is that we are doing much better than last year. Obviously, they will not be as high as Q1. We all know that, right? So it will be lesser than Q1 because of obvious reasons of monsoon. But as you can see from the July figures, they are substantially better than July of last year.
Right.
And those figures are in the public domain.
They are in the public domain, sir. Sir, now one observation on the part of this OFS, sir. Herein, we found that the employees' quota was not subscribed from the employees' end, sir. I am talking about the NMDC employees. So, what is the thought process? Why that has been the case, sir?
It's very difficult to go into the mind of individual investors. As a personal investor, I think if I were to be a personal investor in NMDC, I think these are good stocks to buy. Most of the analysts like you rate us at minimum 220 to 240 is the target price. So at 165, I thought it was a good deal.
So, but then, were you and MD were eligible to participate, sir, in that OFS segment, or was it a category different?
Of course we are not. Of course we are not. But as an individual investor, where most of you people from your community, the analysts put our target prices at anything between 217 to 240 rupees. At 165, I believe it's a good buy.
That's true. And what we're wasting your time, but that message is not being delivered to the employees. That is what my understanding was.
I cannot say about the maybe
the. Lastly, sir, since this year the free cash balances are, as per today's market conditions, would be much better than what last year, and the volume should also be higher, if my understanding is correct. So, sir, OFS cannot be in our hands since Government of India is prerogative, but it is the board call to come up with dividend and the buyback policy, so that this overhang of OFS can be mitigated or muted if a timeline or a frame can be done.
Yes, that question was asked previously also, and I had said I am sure that the board will take an appropriate call at the right time. But this is something that I cannot jump the gun and preclude the board's decision. So these are exclusively in the board's domain, and I'm sure that the board would consider appropriate course of action at the appropriate time. We'll look into everything. This question was asked earlier also, and that is the same. My answer remains the same.
The intention is to get money, whether it is through the OFS route or whether it's through the buyback part. The buyback part is double benefited to the existing shareholders since it lowers the denominator for future earnings.
We all know that the EPS increases.
That was our point, sir.
I'm sure that the board will consider everything at the appropriate point of time, whether it is dividend or buyback or increased capex or further expansion. That the board, I'm sure, will be briefed and taken appropriate decision at the correct point of time.
The pellet will start contributing towards the top line and the bottom line. The coal mines will also be
from Q4 it will start.
Both for the pellet also.
The Donimalai pellet plant will start contributing to the top line and bottom line from Q4.
And for the coal mines.
Coal mine will start. You see, the mining will start from hopefully from Q4 3 or Q4. But the saleable would take a couple of more quarters.
Okay. And for this quarter, since the pellet has contributed positively to the bottom line, so we could see the continuity since you have articulated earlier in the last call.
The pellet plant has turned around because we have already corrected one of the filter presses and the other filter press will be up by October. So we expect by end of Q3 or definitely by Q4 that the pellet plant would be run at full capacity.
Right, sir. And if I could put last question on the ICVL and the legacy iron ore investment, sir. What are we deriving from the same? What is the thought process now since a substantial amount is invested in?
We are very, very hopeful about our legacy investment. The exploration results have been excellent. You go ahead and please keep a tab on the announcement made by Legacy individually, and you will find them to be very encouraging. We as a majority investor at Legacy with 92% holding, we are very pleased at the development over the last 1 year, and we are very hopeful that that is a good investment that we have made, and the returns, so we are very hopeful of good returns. But exact details, you will have to go to the Legacy announcements that made.
But sir, that needs to be hello. That needs to be updated at the exchanges, sir. If we are an investor there, that's a substantial information. As you are telling that we have to look out for the legacy part. If there are substantial improvements.
Independent company in a foreign company, so we cannot make announcements on behalf of Legacy. So there are constraints on that because there are Australian standards that are to be adhered to. So so those companies, Legacies makes an independent announcements as per the Australian compliance standards, and so we refrain from going into details of Legacy. You'll have to go into the ASX for. And there are very continuous announcements regarding Legacy these days. What I can assure you is that the management of NMDC is fairly pleased at the development of that are taking place at Legacy over the last 1 year, and we are very hopeful that by the end of this financial year and on the next financial year, we will be able to generate cash flows there.
Okay. And for ICVL, sir?
ICVL, because of the pricing, now that coking coal prices have gone up, things have started looking up. It's a price issue there. So when the prices go up by more than $120 to $130, so it starts making profit. If it is at $110 or $120 or $100, then ICVL is in a little. Currently, the prices are well above 120 and 30 mark. So ICVL is in a fairly good position, but we are not a major shareholder in there. We do not control that company. That's not a subsidiary. So to that extent, as of now, ICVL is doing okay because of the.
Thank you for the elaborate answer, sir, and all the best to the team. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Thank you. It's been more than an hour now, Vishal, I think.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, that was the last question for today. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Vishal Chandak for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I would like to just state something before you end, which CMD would not state because This has been the third continuous quarter, a hat trick of quarters, where we have produced the best quarterly results since inception. And I think a lot of credit goes to the CMD. He's been at the helm running the ship for the last 3 quarters. So it's been an outstanding 3 continuous quarter and a hat trick so far as NMDC and CMD is concerned. So that's a happy note to end with.
Absolutely right, sir. 3 consecutive quarters we had to write all-time high EBITDA every time. So that's become part of the deal now, it seems. Yes. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating in today's earnings call. And we would like to thank everyone, including the management, for the opportunity given to us. I hand over the floor to CMD, sir, for his closing remarks. Over to you, Sumit, sir.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Vishal. And dear, that was a long con call. But anyway, I would like mentioned, it has been 3 consecutive quarters of perfect growth for us. So we're very happy at how things are unfolding, and with the steel plant commissioning and demerger happening, I think there should be some value unlocking, and further going ahead, we hope to do well in the coal sector also. So things are looking good for NMDC. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vishal.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Have a good day. Good evening. Thank you.